Nilda's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be teaching you a dish that my family loves, and I love it simply because it's a very easy dish to make and it's very quick. So let's go over the ingredients that you're going to be needing to make this dish. It's called Bistec Encebollado. Now this is called the beef sirloin tip sandwich steak, something you can find at your local grocery store. If you go to a Spanish store, it's just pretty much called bola de res. Make sure they slice it into steaks. And I'm going to be using 3 packets of this simply because only 2 of them come in each packet. Another ingredient I'm going to be using is onion. And I didn't use a full onion simply because I'm not making a lot of meat. So I only cut half of an onion and also green bell pepper. Another thing we're going to be using is the vinegar. And the vinegar is going to be used to soften the meat because, as we know, beef can be very hard and you need to soften it. Also take forever to cook. And of course we're going to season it with adobo. And then once we season it, we're going to actually coat it with a good maybe 2 of these tablespoons of sofrito. Another thing that we're going to be using is the sazon, and that is to give it color. I'm going to be using 3 packets in this special dish. Another thing that we're going to be using is our saucepan. And we're going to do just like the Chuletas Guisadas that I used water. We're going to use 1 cup of water for this dish as well. So let's get started, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mix the meat first, and then once I mix the meat and I put the seasoning in it, whatever I'm going to do is let it sit for at least 15 minutes. That way the vinegar can help soften the meat. That way it cooks really nice. And first step to cooking Bistec Encebollado is that you want to make sure you wash your meat thoroughly. So I'm going to rinse it out. Make sure you clean it up properly. Another trick to this is, so if the other ingredients can mix well, leave a little bit of water in there. You don't want to completely dry it out. That way it'll mix well. So I'm going to leave something like that in there. I think enough too much. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some vinegar. These are literally, I have 6 slices of meat in here, so that kind of gives you an idea. Depending on the size of your family, we're a family of 4. So I'm going to pour some vinegar. Again, the vinegar is used to soften the meat. You don't want to put too much because you don't want to make it taste too much like vinegar unless you're into vinegar, but I'm not. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to season each meat with adobo. Again, it's to your tasting. I typically like to cover every single one of them and do individual. So I season everything, so I'm just going to kind of coat it on the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of the sofrito, a good size of 2 tablespoons. And what you're going to do is that with your hand, you're going to kind of like mix it in there nicely. Oh, I can smell it already. I love the way the sofrito smells. So you're going to mix it in really good. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to grab 3 of these packets of sazon. Again, to give it color and also to give it some seasoning, because it does have some seasoning in it as well. I want to get it all in there. Alright, so let's put that aside, and then we're going to mix it again. And you see, by leaving some of the water in there from when you washed your meat, it mixes in really good. So I don't know if you can see that really well, but it's nice and moist in there. So now what I'm going to do, because we did put the vinegar in there, what I want to do is let it sit for at least 15-20 minutes. That way it can soften nicely. What I'm going to do, just to kind of start preparing, I'm going to put the onion on top of it. And I'm also going to put the bell pepper as well. I just kind of like let it sit on top of there. And I'm going to cover this up. We'll be back in about, again, like 15-20 minutes, and then we'll get it started, okay? So now what we're going to do, the meat has been sitting here in its container for a good, I'd say, 20 minutes. what I forgot to mention in my first or earlier was that if you don't want to use the green peppers, you can also use red peppers as well. The nice thing about red peppers, it gives a nice color to it. Or if you don't want to use bell peppers or any kind of bell peppers at all, you can just pretty much just leave the onion in it. But red peppers also does give it a good taste to it as well. So what we're going to do is that we're going to warm up our saucepan, and this is where we're going to put in our 1 cup of water. And what we're going to do is just pretty much let it wait until it starts to get a little hot, and then we're going to put the meat in there once it starts to heat up. Now you can see the water starting to heat up. It's pretty much just basic, same steps as the Chuletas Guisadas. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take one by one, pour it in there. And then we'll pour the onion and the green peppers. It doesn't have to be perfect, so. Alright, so what we're going to do is that we're going to pour this inside here, and juices and all. And then what we're going to do is that just like the Chuletas Guisadas, what we're going to do is we're going to let the water kind of start to boil, lower the flame, and then cover it up. And usually it takes about 40 minutes to cook. And then that should be it. What I've done is that I brought the water to a boiling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the flame. Lower the flame to about that low, and then I'm just going to cover it up. Again, what we're going to do is it's starting to heat up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back maybe about 20 minutes, kind of just turn it around and let it cook for another 20 minutes, and then we should be done. I'm actually going to be making white rice to supplement the meat. So once it's all done, you'll see the whole dish together. Thank you. It's been 45 minutes. I let it cook a little bit longer simply because that way I like my meat nice and soft. So pretty much you can see how it's starting to rip when you grab onto it with the fork. So what I'm going to do is just pretty much just serve. I already served the plate with white rice. You can pair this up with anything, but I like it with white rice because you can put the juice on top of it. And so what I do is that I grab some of the green peppers and the onion in it, and put the juice on there, and there you have it. Bistec Encebollado. Again, you can pair this up with, like I said, you can pair this up with arroz con gandules. You can pair this, like you see here, with white rice. And if you like, you can add the red pepper, or you can eliminate the pepper and all if you don't want any pepper in it. But it does give it a nice taste to it. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to post it on my webpage, or you can send me a message on YouTube. Thank you.